Hello, everybody. How's it going? Alrighty then. Just gonna get some stuff going here. Why are you being weird? Don't be weird on me here. All right. Okie dokie. How is everybody doing today? Okay. So we're nearing the end of March. So March Macragge is quickly coming to an end. Hey, Hellchild, how's it going? What's howling? I like that one. Not me. That's a spaceful thing. Hey, Hal. But yeah, no. So we're coming to the end of March. The March Macragge is slowly winding down for another year. But yeah, no, it's been an interesting month. I was able to get one model done for my personal March, my Lieutenant and Reaver armor, which is cool. I'm glad I got them done. I've been putting out some shorts, just showcasing various parts of my army. I did one for the battle line, close support, your long range support. And I did one I just put out a few hours ago, which had basically my entire army as it stands right now. The boys in Calth did some howling, probably. But I had, it's got everything as my army is now. I mean, I have some other models, but everything that is, officially in the codex. So none of the legend stuff is in there, but everything that is right now legal in the codex, I put that out and I took a nice pic of it. I have some other. I'm doing a short one today. We're gonna wrap this up around 11:05 there, because I have some other stuff I want to do. I have another video to get ready and out before the end of the month, sort of wrap up, really officially wrap up the March from Macragge. That's cool though. I went out and picked up this month's White Dwarf. Pretty cool. I do find it funny that Backstore's in the front and the back, but he's really not anywhere else. And it is a cool White Dwarf. Lots of cool stuff in here, but what I really was interested in, actually what caught my eye is, I like picking up like the missions, right? So I've already taken out the cards. They have the cool missions here. This one also has, where is it? Where are you? This one's actually got the combat patrol for the rogue traders and the voidsmen, the navy breachers and all that, which is really cool. They got their own cool little stuff. Great ways to play. The other thing they added was multiplayer combat patrol, which is cool because playing games with more than 3 people can sometimes be dicey. I like the fact that they were able to put one together. But the one thing that got me, and it was kind of a fluke, but I like the fact that it happened. Big article about Lieutenant Titus of the Ultramarines. I'm saying Lieutenant, not Lieutenant. This is really cool. So, for a bunch of different reasons. One is it kind of tells you when when the original game, Space Marine game, took place. What's happened to him in between those games? It's very interesting. Now, if you don't know, Lieutenant, actually was Captain Titus back in the first one. Went through this big battle, got tricked into helping a chaos-possessed Inquisitor unleash pretty much a warp portal on the planet of Graia, Graia, and showed a uncommon resilience to chaos. He just couldn't be affected by it, right? At the end of that game, spoiler alert, he is taken off by an Inquisitor to be studied and tested. He must be corrupt. If he can withstand the forces of chaos, he must be corrupt. This actually explains to us what happened. So he was from the Second Company. There was a massive battle. His captain Trajan was killed, and then he became captain of the Second Company. Now it's Inquisitor Thrax that takes him, and the Inquisitor actually locks him in the stasis tube for a long time. There's a whole bunch of tests. The Inquisitor himself ends up dying. Now, this Inquisitor was also very anti-Space Marine. He was not a fan of it. He's the one who was worried about Huron, the Tyrant of Badab, with Lysander, Darnath Lysander from the Imperial Fist, managed to escape from the Eye of Terror. He's like, no, I want him. I want to test him. And eventually, when trying to destroy another Space Marine chapter, he's possessed, and the Grey Knights with him kill him. It's over. Eventually, his fortress is raided and not raided, but inspected, and they pull these Space Marines, a bunch of Space Marines out, and Titus eventually ends up with the Death Watch. He ends up fighting with the Death Watch as a Space Marine. The Death Watch, still standard Space Marine size, and the Death Watch. They end up going up against the Tyranids during the outbreak of the Fourth Tyrannic War, and the Death Watch are completely devastated, just wrecked. All right, and this is what's cool about this. Now, the other thing that, before we get to that, one thing is you find out that he was captain of the second company, and he was replaced once he was taken away. And at this point, the Ultramarines tried to get him back. Calgar was incensed. He was trying to get him back, trying to figure out. He's sending out all these missives and please the Inquisition. No one said anything. So they were trying to get their captain back. They couldn't get him. He was gone. What you find out is the person that followed him was, in fact, everyone's favorite Sicarius, Captain Sicarius. Yes, he followed in. So you can see that this happened, the original Space Marine happened a long time ago. As now Sicarius has been replaced with a new captain. And they mentioned there that when he gets back to the chapter, he finds that he's been given the rank of lieutenant because he's missing so long. He's given the rank of lieutenant. So it's sort of a demotion. It's also, you welcome back to the chapter. Now there are Ultramarines that are not too happy, but with Tigurius, which we'll get to in a second, and Calgar going, no, he's good. He's back in. And the funny thing he mentions is the captain he's following now had literally just become a full-fledged Space Marine when he left to go to Graia. So, and he's fulfilled he's like, I'm still loyal to chapter. But anyways, they are being attacked by the Tyranid. It's going badly. He's horribly wounded. And he's found by none other than Tigurius, who's leading his own Soul Blade. And they take him back, not to any other ship, but to the Space Marine. What's the name of it? There's a name to which the Righteous Fury. That's one of the Ultramarines. Hey, Ashley, how's it going? So he's taken back. He is severely wounded. They realize the only way he's going to make this is if he's still strong enough to become a Primary Space Marine. Of course, he survives it and ends up becoming a lieutenant now instead of a captain. Now, again, the Tigurius does a check of him and sees there's no corruption there. There never was, right? I have a feeling his, hey, Frosted Fist, Vithos, hello. We're talking about Lieutenant Titus. I picked up this month's White Dwarf just on a whim, and I think it's probably some sort of divine. Don't we are key and cells play Scooby? Cool. Hey, have fun, Scooby Dooby. And by some divine providence from the Emperor himself, there's a whole article about Lieutenant Titus of the Ultramarines, giving us a rundown of what happened between the time he was abducted by an Inquisitor until when he came back to the Ultramarines. It's pretty cool because it gives us a cool timeline of when that game actually happened in the grander scheme, and it's a while ago. Which means that Bolt Gun is also a while ago because Bolt Gun takes place not long after. If you haven't played Bolt Gun, it is freaking hilariously funny. It is an amazing game. It's full-on 90s nostalgia. If you're a fan of old school Doom, and it's just that. It's like, it's amazing. It's absolutely awesome. Is there this month's White Dwarf? Looks like it's issue 498. It is, I think, this month's. Yes, it is this month. Also, it's cool that they're actually two issues away. Well, it's March's. Yeah, it's March's. It's not April. April's will be out, what, the next Saturday after that, I think. What's cool is we're only like 2 issues away from issue 500. I remember, good Lord, I remember when issue 300 came out. That was a massive deal. It was huge. A massive White Dwarf. Tons of crazy stuff. That one had the movie Space Marines. If you didn't know what the movie Space Marines are, it was making Marines fit the fluff, back, especially back in the day, like 5 Marines capacify plant, the way they wrote them back. I remember issue exactly. There you go. And so it was like they were like Marines, like uber extra awesome Marines. It was amazing. You had a las cannon that basically just fired through stuff until it stopped wounding stuff or stopped hitting stuff. It just went right through. Like bolters were nuts. But yeah, so Titus is in this one. It's really cool. So it goes through his whole story. Basically, he ends up in the clutches of a Inquisitor who doesn't like Space Marines, and he's kept in this stasis stuff for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. The Marines don't know where the Ultramarines don't know where they are. They've moved on at some point. He's just missing. Eventually, he's rescued. He's put into the Death Watch because they don't know who he belongs to. Ends up fighting with the Death Watch. Horribly wounded, saved by Tigurius of all people, and his soul blade, and then eventually makes his way back to Chapter, surviving the crossing the Rubicon Primaris, coming out as a Primaris Marine and made a lieutenant. Again, it's cool because the captain he's under, let's see here, what's his name? Yeah, Captain Sevastus Archeron. He's the new captain. And when Titus left to go to Graia, Sevastus had graduated from being a scout to a full-fledged Marine. So there's 400, 500, 600 years, however long in there, where this guy was missing. So he's back now, and that's basically where Space Marine 2 is going to pick up, with him being back in the Ultramarines. Obviously, they've thrown in this thing where some of these Marines underneath him don't really trust him. In fact, I know in some of the trailers, you can hear the dissent amongst them. Some of them not 100% sure if they should trust him. Even Captain Sevastus saying, why are you here, sort of thing. Like these questions are like, should you really be here? I mean, and I love this. Like some of this artwork is freaking spectacular. I love that. There's Titus down here, and up here he's got his guys over here. I'm doing this backwards. Some assault intercessors with jump packs. Really cool. So yeah, that was I picked it up. I was reading through and go, oh man, it's Titus. I gotta talk about that tonight. Titus is awesome. Yeah, you haven't played Bolt Gun. There's actually a button you press. And I have it on PlayStation 4, so it was the triangle button becomes a taunt button, so you can taunt them in one of the lines. And he says lots of cool Imperial stuff. I shall bathe in the enemy's blood, and so on and so forth. But one of them, if you can get to it, says, I shall finish what Captain Titus started. Right? So obviously this is not too long after, right? But it's cool. I think it's going to be, I think Space Marine 2 is going to be cool. But that's awesome I found it here. Again, very weird that, although I said this earlier, Vashtor's on the front, Vashtor's on the back with all his gribbly little chaos buddies, but he's actually not in here, which is a little weird. All right, there's lots of cool combat patrol missions in here. There's other missions. There's how to play. The other cool thing I wanted to show is that you got the combat patrol. I said it before, for the Ventarians Voidsmen. So it's getting rogue traders, their henchmen and all that, their Voidsmen at Arms and Imperial Navy breachers into games of combat patrol. I'm so hyped. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I mean, from what I've seen so far, it looks awesome. And it's got a really cool trend. I think this one, obviously, the last one was on PlayStation 3. It's been a while. And that game was cool. Obviously, your limitations. I love the fact that while you're fighting as Titus with your Ultramarines, you can see the bigger battle going on, which I think is really cool. I always love when they they add that in games. You can see that you're part of a bigger battle going on. I mean, they did a little bit in the Space Marine game where you get to a part where there would be guardsmen. You fight off the orcs. At that point in the game, you're fighting orcs with the guardsmen, but basically it was still just you and your Space Marine buddies because you're Space Marines, right? But even when they did that in games, old games on the PlayStation 2, they had Fire Warrior. You played a Tau, right? You could still, when you're on the battlefield, you could still see shots going overhead. Sometimes you see flyers go overhead. You'd see men running off in the distance. You'd see tanks crossing the trenches you were going through. You could see blown up tanks, damaged sentinels, right? So you knew you had your own mission to fulfill, but you were still part of a bigger battle, which is always cool. But yeah, I think Space Marine 2 is gonna be cool. But yeah, so this one they're adding a rogue trader, Voidsman Arms. The rogue trader's data sheet does come with all the extras. Well, the retinue, the Voidsman Arms are pretty cool. And you have your Imperial Navy breachers with other coolness. The other cool thing, you got multiplayer combat patrol. So you have multiplayer rules. You have things for 4 players, all versus all. You have 4 players, all versus all. 4 players, 2 versus 2, and 3 players, all versus all. And so you have different missions, and they show you how to set up for each one.
Hi.
There's a bunch of them here, which is really cool. It's cool to see them adding in different ways to play.
Sorry.
So, you okay?
I'm putting down EVs.
We're setting up stuff for Easter. But yeah, of course, lots of cool fluff in here. Some kill team stuff. Don't play much kill teams. But yeah, so it was cool that background information was there for him. Ethos says, "Good evening, Mrs. Dice."
Hello.
She says hello. But no, it was a good white dwarf. I'm glad I picked it up. Lots of cool fluff in here, some cool stuff. They even have a battle report from Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, as it's called now, which is really cool. And
you can tell them what we're doing. We're dropping the poop.
Yes, I will. Yes.
So we don't look weird.
Yes, my wife is putting around jelly beans, and we call it the Easter Bunny poop.
No, we don't call it. EB tells us.
Yes.
From the movie Hop.
Yes, the movie Hop. My youngest loved the movie Hop, and you find out that jelly beans are the Easter Bunny's droppings. For the matriarch. Which matriarch, huh? But there's actually a Lord of the Rings battle port, or Middle Earth, which I find very weird. You guys have a great night. Thanks for dropping by, guys. It was weird to see this. They don't have much coverage anymore for Middle Earth. Especially, I'm not sure about the UK or whatever. Oh yes, you're the matriarch, hon. One of the guys called you matriarch. You're the matriarch. You have the power. You wield it.
Yeah. Whip it, boy.
But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so that was cool. I thought I'd share that simply because there's that really cool story in there for the one and only Lieutenant Titus. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so as for everything else, I did manage to get that one model done, which was really cool for the March from Macragge stuff. Kind of hope I wish got more, but it's been one of those months. So you do what you can do. But any progress is always good, right? You just should be happy for the fact that I was able to get that done, because there's been times where I've gotten almost nothing done. And that's my own fault too. But yeah. So with that done, as I said, I did that short there showcasing the Army as quickly in its entirety as it stands now. It's still pretty impressive looking. At its core is 3 tactical squads, which I know need to go. So that will be eventually with getting I'm good, thank you. Eventually getting the rest of the Infernus squad done, the Terminators done, the Hellblasters I still have to get done, and a bunch of and among the other characters and units, they will eventually get replaced. It's still cool that they're there. I find the army super impressive because I have models in there from basically almost every edition of the game now, to some extent or another. I have squads. I have one tactical squad's made completely out of Metal Marines from the second edition. Obviously, I have Marines that came out third and fourth. Obviously, some of the new stuff from 8th, 9th, and now 10th, obviously. I kind of got stuff from every sort of edition, which is cool. And I think that's, to me, that's awesome. I think that's awesome. I love it. The fact that I've had that army. Of course, some stuff has been taken out now. My Tyrannic War Veterans are no longer there. Cassius and Tellian are no longer in the army. I've started taking out everything that isn't, part of the main rule book. Legends are cool, but I definitely want to keep on with the main, the main codex now, instead of, having all the extra stuff. So obviously there's been some adjustments. I do have to paint up a bunch more characters. That is one of the big things with my army. No characters whatsoever. Well, now, I have a lieutenant now, 2 lieutenants, and, one second.
Evie left me some droppings in your stuff.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my Lord. The kids will love that. Now I've got the 2 lieutenants. I've got the Lieutenant Reaver Armor and Lieutenant, just a standard one with the Mastercrafted Bolter. So, definitely got to get more done. I definitely want to get Ventress done up. That's in the fullness of time. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, over the next few months, we'll get more done, because I definitely want to bring the army up to make it as updated as possible. I like the fact that I have my my Vanguard squad, which has served life as a tactical squad now, command squad, an assault squad, with no jump pack, assault squad with jump pack, and now a Vanguard veteran squad. So and they're all, some of them are updated. They were 3rd or 4th edition tactical squads. A couple of them are metal, old, like 2nd edition Ultramarine or Space Marines. They're all got backpacks from the Blood Angel Sanguinary Guard. I like that whole one jet engine. It just looks really cool. Or jet jump pack engine, I think it looks really cool. So again, and they're all made up of different parts. They've all had either bolters at one point. Then I just like the fact that I've been able to keep them all in that long, and they're still, at least for now, viable. I have a feeling within the next edition, most likely, we will see, now that we have assault veteran intercessors, we'll probably see Vanguard replace like the Stern Guard, where you'll get upscaled Primaris size Marines with jetpacks with a little bit more pageantry to them, robes, and just it'll be different, right? So I don't know. I still think that by probably next edition, anything that is old school, aside from a few tanks and drop pods, will be gone. That's the unfortunate part of progress. You have to leave some stuff behind. Oh, that's cold. I like it. But yeah, and it's been cool to see other people painting up stuff for their march. It's been cool to see people jump in. Hopefully, we'll see some more stuff soon. It's cool, and I like, Mythos and I planned this sort of haphazardly, but it worked out. I think we just, in order to give people a what's the word I'm looking for? An inspiration to just get painted, because sometimes, and I know this from experience, sometimes it's hard to put that paint on that brush and put on the model, because I know for me, I just want to get to the end result. You start with plastic, you prime it up, and then getting to that finished thing. Sometimes that to me is painful because I want to get there, but I don't want to do all the steps in between, and that sometimes is like a paralytic. I just can't paint. Other times it's just done. Right? With my reavers during that, those came together so quick. And then even my lieutenant was just boom. I just like, oh, I want to do it. I got past that and just boom, did them. And I think they all look great. It was just boom, boom, boom. But yeah, so hopefully we inspired you guys to get stuff painted or try something new. It's always cool to sort of have I don't want to say restrictions, but having sort of a set parameters that you have to fit in, right? We said either something that was blue or an ultramarine of some sort. And that way you kind of go, okay, well, now I kind of know what palette I have to play with. Or, I've never painted an ultramarine before. Let's paint a space marine. Or I want to paint up an orc, but with tons of blue armor. It's totally cool. And that's part of the bit, just to get people enjoying the hobby and getting something out of it, hopefully some enjoyment, helping especially if I had a bad day or trying to in areas, it can be hard to feel motivated. It is. There's been days where I just come home from work and I'm exhausted. Just don't want to paint. I do, but I don't. Actually, I've been playing recently. That's the other thing is distractions. I've been playing a ton of Final Fantasy 15 because I don't know. I've been through this thing where I'm playing old games that I either didn't finish for whatever reason or barely even started. I was playing, was it Call of Duty World War II? I made it to like the second or third level in that game, and I realized I'd never finished this. So I played through it. It was good to play a World War II game, give it to them, Crouch. But what? That was another thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 15 because I never actually finished that one, and it's been a ton of fun. The story is great. It's actually probably it's probably one of the better Final Fantasy games I've played in a while, since probably 10-2. 11 just wasn't. It's a great game, just and 12 was okay. 13, I mean, the fact that it had 2 sequels is pretty cool, but even then 13 kind of felt 14 is great. I haven't played that in a while, but I played it with Mythos and his wife there over the last little while, but that just sort of fell off. I just didn't feel like, because you can't. It is easy to play on its own, but other times you kind of have to play with people, and if you don't have anybody to play with right at the moment, it sort of takes away some of the desire to play. But 15's been a lot of fun. I've been taking my time with that. I actually just finished one of the side quests where you end up meeting a character from Final Fantasy 14, and then you end up basically, well, it's an old abandoned Imperial fort, but you end up one sec. What? Yes. But you end up fighting some of the you see some of the creatures, the beastmen from Final Fantasy 14. You end up going against some of those weird orb things, and eventually you end up going against, and spoiler, you end up going against a version of Garuda, one of the primals for Final Fantasy 14, and you end up finishing that. You get a ton of experience. You have an option to go through different, basically kind of like you did in Final Fantasy 14. You go back through the events over again. And what's really cool is you actually, in the middle, right near the end of the battle, the world you're from, that version of Garuda comes out and just annihilates the other Garuda. And says, and you get its mark, and you can summon in battle if you hit all the right criteria. So it's really cool. Right now I'm actually right near the end of the game. So and you have this weird ability to travel back to the past. So at the main point of the game, I'm right near the end. So it's basically that classic Final Fantasy long haul to the end, right? You no more jumping all over the world. You're on the straight line to the enemy to the last battle. However, you have this dog called Umbra, which is connected to the main character, and you can actually use it to travel back to the past. And so you can do all these side quests, buff yourself up, get the cool weapons, go through the cool side quests, make yourself super powerful, and then jump back in and go for the big battle, which is where I'm headed to. And it's cool once once you finish the game, you can actually still go back to the past because there's certain side quests that are very hard to complete because they are way above the level I'm at right now. I think there's the Adamantoise quest. And if you know anything about Final Fantasy, Adamantoise is this massive turtle. Well, in Final Fantasy 15, he is so massive that he's actually part of the landscape. At one point, there's this giant rock that comes out of the ground, and it actually comes up, and it's Adamantoise. He's level 99. So, like, that's a very long. Even if you get to level 99 and you have everything you can possibly do to make yourself as pumped up as possible, it's still a very, very long battle. So, I mean, that's something I'm looking forward to. So. But as I said, that's a distraction. It's a fun one, but it's kind of the choice of where you put your time. But seeing we're coming to the end of March, only a couple of days left. I thought get back to this, have the fun, see what comes out. I know, we're looking at new things. There's always some new thing. The towel obviously just came out, so that's going to be cool. Found out that the store in town actually sells Games Workshop product is actually putting a table in with terrain and lots. So hopefully I'll be able to get some games in eventually. It'd be cool that I don't have to travel quite such a long distance that I do now to play a game. It gets closer, which means I can sort of fit into my schedule, which right now I can't. But, and for future, let's go again. This guy I want. I decided that that fledgling Chaos Space Marine army that I painted up from models that I had spare left over. I did some kit bashing with some Imperial Space Marines and Chaos bits to make them. I definitely want to have that as sort of a sort of followers of Ashtor, and that's what I did for the battle report. So the solo battle report, the Ultramarines versus these Chaos Space Marines who've pledged themselves to Ashtor. But I definitely want to get Ashtor, and I definitely want to get a lot of the cool stuff, all the cool demon engines. I definitely want to have a whole army basically based around that. Obviously, some Legionnaires, and I have the Chaos Lord, some Legionnaires, and Chosen. Definitely going to use those guys, but I'd like to get Ashtor. Also, different demon engines. Get you have Guilliman versus Vastor 20K. Yeah, exactly. That'd be cool. I got to get Guilliman done. There you go. But I definitely get him. Get all the crazy. Actually, at the back here, get all the crazy demon engines that he loves and all that. Because that's what he's kind of for. Get a couple of warp smiths in there to lead the Legionnaires and repair vehicles, keep them running. Well, they just pump out massive amounts of power, because that's kind of what he's all about, right? Plus, I love the fluff that's coming out based around him with tech across the 40K universe just going crazy. I know I probably mentioned it before, but it's really cool because it's everybody is being affected by it. They talk about servitors on Pure Worlds just going nuts and killing people left, right, and center. Tau battle suits. Just the operator inside completely losing control, and they start targeting their own soldiers or drones going nuts. I think that the greatest one of all, when it comes to that, is the Leagues of Votan, where their kin, what they call their kin, these AI robots that walk around with them, and the Votan think they're they consider them part of their kin, they're part of their families, they're part of their fighting units. They just started betraying them. They just went nuts and started killing their own people, and it's all because of Astra, right? And the cool stuff with everything that's going on, the Pry Nexus, which, on a side note, I find this edition seems to not know where it's going. Maybe as we get closer to a few years down the road, we'll know. But it starts off with this big, oh, hey, here's the Fourth Tyrannic War. Here's Leviathan. It's back, baby. Soul blades everywhere, craziness. It's harder, even harder than normal to contain. And then all of a sudden back to the Pry Nexus, because you've got the Silent King there. You got Vashdor there now. Guilliman and the Lion are on their way there to deal with it. So you got a bunch of super big name players suddenly just going off away from you have the whole galaxy here, and Terra's right here, and Leviathan was down here, and everybody's going over here. Kind of weird. I don't know. But anyways, it's cool. I mean, I can't wait to see Lion and Guilliman meet. There's the Vashdor versus Silent King will be crazy, because you've got the most powerful Necron against the guy who wants to be the new Chaos God, right? And is slowly showing he has the power to back it up. So I think that'll be cool. I kind of can't wait to see how that plays out. I'd love to see Vashdor and Guilliman go at it. Guilliman seems to have sort of a he's already contended with a number of his brothers. He's managed to slightly hold his own against Magnus. He needed help with that. Of course, Magnus is a powerhouse now. Almost killed by, effectively killed by Mortarion, and only revived with the power of the Emperor. And then the Emperor used him as the ultimate shiv and managed to wound Nurgle and wound his garden. And the Lion fighting Angron and beheading him like nuts. So there's a lot of power going to this one area of space. It's going to be cool to see. So I don't know, but I definitely like that model. I think it's a really cool model. Like the weird. I love that there's a whole flesh metal thing going on, which is really cool. Very cool. Kind of want to see where it all ends up, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when, because you already have a Necron civil war happening in the Pry Nexus with, the Silent King one side, and I can't remember the other Necron, but one of the other big Necron lords on the other basically going, I'm not following you. So there's already a Necron civil war. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Vashdor jumps in and starts taking over Necron wars, because he can do that, right? It's tech. He'll be able to take it over. So interesting to see what happens when all of a sudden a third faction of Necron rises up following Vashdor into battle. The Imperial defenders are already pushed to the limit. It's already pretty bad for them as is. Now to have more Chaos reinforcements coming, even the fact that there are two loyal Primarchs on the way, it's not something you probably know about. And I would not want to be one of the Imperial defenders at this point in a Pry Nexus. It would probably be a hell. Actually, that's why I like the animated series they did on Warhammer Plus, the Pry Nexus. Is you got to see what it was like for even a sister battle where her faith is completely shattered. They were completely overrun with the Necrons. The Guardsmen, Space Marine sisters dying left, right, center, and her faith is completely destroyed by this loss. She's a daughter of the Emperor. Her faith is what sustains her, and it's just completely shattered. Great. I love that series. Great examples of what happens to these characters when they're met with defeat, which is fun to see. Oh, of course, the Vulcan, or not Vulcan, the Salamander character was phenomenally well done, and he is like full on a Space Marine. That's how Space Marine should be. Even like missing an arm and only armed with a combat dagger at the end, he's like, I'm just gonna go and keep fighting, because that's what I do. I'm gonna find my brothers. We're gonna come back from this. We're gonna kick some butt. I hope they do a sequel to it. I think that one, of all the things I've seen, and I don't have it yet, but I've seen a lot. That one's probably the best of the best, right? There's been lots of cool series, lots of cool animated ones, but that one was the best of the best. Plus, I think it had the most. It was the most polished thing I've seen on that so far. Some of those cool animated ones are nice, but it's very jumpy 2D animation. It's not very smooth. I always found that to be a bit of a problem because it does jump, and so when you're jumping, it tends to take you out of the experience. You want to watch, you want to enjoy it, but when the animation isn't smooth, it can be a problem. But yeah, like I said, we're near the end of March. I'm going to call this myself a success. Now I'm going to go do some more another video after this. That's why I'm doing a short one tonight, just to sort of give a wrap up, showcase some stuff, and basically put a finish stamp on this March from Macragge, because it's been pretty fun. I got another model done. My army's expanded some more. I'm very happy with how it's going. And so I got to put my final stamp on it, though, and say mission accomplished for this year. Next March, we'll probably do something else. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to see what April brings. I know in June, issue 500 of the White Dwarf. That'll be something cool. I probably want to cover that. That'll be interesting to see what they do with 500 issues. Like Hellchild said before, where he remembers issue 100. I came in to the White Dwarf at least after 100. Somewhere after, but before 200. Didn't get 200, but 300 was a big one. That one had fold-out maps. It had, like I said, the movie Space Marines, as they were called, the Super Space Marines, whatever you want to call them. A whole bunch of really cool stuff, really cool battle reports in there. The White Dwarf has been through some really big highs, really big lows. It's been worth collecting. It's been definitely not worth collecting. There's a time there it was I mean, it's always been a catalog. This is really designed to make you go, oh man, I want to buy, Voidsman and Breachers and a Rogue Trader, so I can play this Combat Patrol, right? That's what it's really designed to do. It's much better now. But there's a time where it's still just a catalog for the most part, but there was a time when it was nothing but a catalog. The articles are bad, everything just bad about it. And then it was that whole fiasco where you had the White Dwarf and Warhammer Visions, and they were smaller. I did not like that at all. That was I was working Games Workshop at the time when that was happening, so I got all my White Dwarfs and Warhammer Visions for free, but they just weren't worth it. It was a pain going, hey, you want the full experience of this, you had to get 2 books. And one was, about the size of a comic book. This is bigger. And the other one was like even smaller and thicker. I don't know. It wasn't cool. That's me. Now, what else can I update on? Well, when I did the first solo battle report, which I think was a rousing success, and the fact that I was able to have Voldemort of all people help me out, still shocked about that. Still mentioned because it still blows my mind. I tend to do more. Gulliman Vivashtor is one I definitely wouldn't mind getting done this year. We'll see what happens. But I do have one in mind. So I have to get 3 Necron Swarm, the Swarm guys, done. The Scarabs, that's the word I was looking for. I have 3 Scarab bases I have to get finished up. So then I have a Royal Warden, 10 Necro Warriors, and 3 Scarabs. So I put them into a small battle, solo battle report. And I'm thinking of doing sort of like a last stand thing. So nothing really mission-y, because the missions are cool, but I've always loved telling stories, like an actual story in the battle, right? It's cool, but I think I'll do sort of a last stand thing. As I do have a bunch of Imperial agents that I've kit bashed. I have some guardsman units, so I can kind of throw something together there and sort of do a last stand. Again, set in the Pry Nexus, because that's a cool place to set it, just like I did with the first one. And sort of have the that heroic and often very tragic last stand of some guardsmen going up against a never-ending swarm of Necron warriors, right? Something cool like that. Throw in some cool rules, if the Necron unit gets wiped out, it comes back on as just, because they're Legion, right? So they never end. It's a ceaseless rank after rank of metal monstrosity marching forward, laying down Gauss fire, just atomizing everything. So once just see how long the guardsmen can hold out before they're overwhelmed, right? So again, I'm toying with how I'd make that mission work, sort of what the lay of the land would be, what a table would look like. So there is some planning that goes into this. We'll see what happens. That's definitely something I want to do. I want to keep doing these solo battle boards. I don't know if I'll have Baltimore. Probably not. But just to get out there and have some fun with it, see what happens, see what people like. See, people want a narrative sort of story instead of a more back and forth normal game sort of thing. Right. And of course, it's still a learning curve for me because I'm still trying to relearn the game while doing this. And it's a learning curve because I'm trying to figure out what you as the audience like. But I think I'm running out of time here. I think I'm going to call it there for the night, guys. Thank you, everybody who came by and had fun. We did a little chat. I know it's Easter weekend, so people are at people's houses. They're having fun with their families. And please go ahead. I already had dinner at one family's house last night. We took our youngest to go get pictures with the Easter Bunny today. And I know you guys are enjoying that, so please enjoy the rest of your long weekend. I'm pretty sure everyone's got a long weekend. I know I do. Spend it with your family. Spend it doing something hobby-wise if you can, just to get a little bit of hobby muscle in there. And I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you guys next weekend. Keep rolling dice, guys. I will see you later. Thank you very much, Mythos. I'll see you later, guys. Bye.